Welcome back to Normal Baseball. The second half of the MLB season has finally begun. Let's talk about it. We're back. It was a successful All-Star break. It was a very fun All-Star game. And All-Star break in general. The Derby was fun as well. We are back now. I'm Alex Normal Dog. That's Lewis. And you're watching Normal Baseball. We got some stuff to talk about. We've had the first weekend of games since the All-Star break. Yep. A couple different things have now happened. You know, a couple different teams have played well. And we're just going to get right into it. So, the first thing I want to talk about is the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles are currently one game back of the Tampa Bay Rays. They have lost 35 games. The Tampa Bay Rays have lost 36. But they've played a few more games. The Orioles, not to mention they're also on an 8-game win streak. It's looking good in O-Town right now.
Yeah, it is. I'm excited. If we're going to get an AL East division race of the Tampa Bay Rays and the Baltimore Orioles, count me in, push all my chips in. I am more than ready to watch that, more than ready to dive into that, because these are two teams that have very different philosophies from the other three teams in the division of rebuilding through prospects and rebuilding through guys who you might not know as soon as they come out of college. And they've shown that, you know, you can bring in wins without having the amazing, all-talented superstars who can win an MVP. And it's impressive. And I'm excited. I hope that they play each other soon. I can take a look to see when the next time they play each other is. But I really hope it's soon, because these two teams are on a warpath. Yeah, they play each other this weekend.
Okay. I was going to say, it's definitely not this week, because the Orioles run into the Dodgers, who we'll talk about, and the Rays run into the Texas Rangers. So that should be a fun matchup as well. Yeah, like you were saying, the Orioles, you know, they kind of just find guys. It's been building a long time, to be honest. Their farm system is probably the best in baseball, because they've brought up how many good players and how many, you know, really top prospects, and they still have guys left in their minor leagues who still have time till they come up. Yeah. You know, you got guys like Gunnar Henderson, who Gunnar started the season off really bad, but he's really come into form recently. Obviously, Adley's been amazing. Jordan Westberg's been pretty good since they called him up. Obviously, Aaron Hicks has been amazing since they got him from the Yankees. Yeah. Just a lot of things are going right for this team, and while it may not seem like their pitching staff is the greatest, you know, they still have the two best back-end bullpen guys in baseball, like closers too, and Felix Bautista and Ynier Cano. And their rotation's been able to get it done because their lineup scores a lot of runs. Yeah. It's all worked out really well for them. And now they're just one game back of the Rays, which at the beginning of the season didn't even seem possible, to be quite honest with you.
Agreed. I think, obviously not the time to talk about this right now, but just want to rip it off. Honestly, if they trade for one or two solid starting pitchers, then we're talking about a team that honestly could go from playoff contenders to like deep playoff run contenders. And I don't think that that's so much a question of when, it's if. Because if they make those trades, I'm willing to put them in that, could we see them in a World Series type of contention?
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that at some point. We'll do a little trade episode, who we think could go where, what's going on. But I agree. I think they're a couple trades away. I think they need some pitching. And honestly, I would say that's really it, because their hitting has been able to get it done. Mm-hmm. I would focus more on starting pitching specifically, because, again, their bullpen, you know, you got two of the best back-end guys in baseball, so you don't really have to worry about that too much. But starting pitching has been the thing that you would say they kind of need this right now. Yeah. Grayson Rodriguez is starting tonight for them. He has been not good. He's got a 7.35 ERA through 10 career starts. So he simply just hasn't been good. They need big league arms, big league guys to fill out their rotation before they kind of trust Grayson Rodriguez in a playoff push scenario. Not even playoff push, a division race. Because currently that division, the AL East, the division race is just the Orioles and Rays. They are separated by one game, and the Rays haven't been good either recently.
Yeah.
So this is really Baltimore's time. I think by the end of this week, we could say that that the Orioles are in first place going into their series, which no one would have expected at the beginning of the season, especially with how the Rays started off.
Yes, although we would not expect it, I would embrace it. Count me in for some first-place Orioles.
Why wouldn't you embrace it?
Yeah.
They're the Orioles. Everyone's rooting for them. They are a very rootable team.
Yes.
I will say that.
They definitely are.
For sure.
They're entertaining. The entire AL East has been entertaining with all the ups and downs of every team. I think that's fair to say. And honestly, with how, I don't want to say bad, but with how underperforming Tampa has been recently going into the All-Star break and now out of the All-Star break, they're 3-7 over their last 10. And I don't understand why, because they were on this amazing streak, this amazing pace.
You come back down to earth. That's
you come back down to earth, but usually it's a slow fall. I want to say that this feels more like a crash. I mean, you just can't make it up. They got swept by the Phillies. They almost got swept by Atlanta, and then they dropped the last game to the Kansas City Royals, and I should say to Bobby Witt Jr. and the Kansas City Royals, because Bobby Witt Jr. had an amazing game on Sunday. But I want to see what happens in this series in this week going into with Tampa Bay going into Texas, because we saw it earlier in the season and we had mentioned it that the Texas Rangers and the Tampa Bay Rays played each other. Tampa won that series 2-3. They only dropped one game, and that was in a Valdi start that they lost. I want to see what they're going to do this series, because it might be a turning point in the wrong direction for the Rays coming up.
Yeah, I've seen this. I've kind of seen this coming for a while, because in the beginning of the season, when they were the best team in baseball and it looked like they were going to break records, I was saying since the start, give them some time. They'll fall down. They are not going to beat any records. They're not going to stay in first place the whole season, because at the end of the day, all their guys came out looking like Barry Bonds in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
None of their guys are keeping that up for the entire year. And I think they kind of, they remembered, hey, we're the Rays. They do get Shane McClanahan back tonight. Mm-hmm. He will start tonight against the Rangers. So that's a really good sign for them, because he was obviously their best pitcher in the beginning. He's been their best pitcher by far this season. It's just they came back down to earth, mm-hmm. and they're in a slump. They're not gonna. I knew they weren't gonna not have a slump this season. Although a lot of their guys are still playing very well. It's just been a simple fact of they haven't been winning the games that they need to. Either their pitching doesn't do it or their hitting doesn't do it. The other day they lost 3-1 to the Phillies twice in that series. They lost 3-1. That's not really their pitching. That's their hitting not being able to get it done. But then meanwhile, that last game against the Royals, they lost 8-4. So that's their pitching giving up 8 runs. So it's just been recently that if they have one thing, the other thing isn't there. And that's been the main issue for them. I agree with you. I'd like to see what they can do in this Texas series. They are in Texas. So we'll see what they can put together.
Yeah, I want to say there's a part of me that will believe that this offense will eventually pick it back up, because it is the Tampa Bay Rays, and somehow, some way, they figure out these ways to become great when, it kind of feels like the chips are stacked against them. They're going into Texas, where the Rangers have been playing amazing as of recently, especially since the last time these two teams met. But do I want to give the Rays the benefit of the doubt? I'm not sure. You'll have to check in with me on that at the end of the Rays-Rangers series, and then I can give you a better reading on that for how I feel about this team. I do think, though, it would not be surprising if all of a sudden the Rays came out, scored 10-plus in every game, and then we're talking about them being right back on track and 3 games up in the AL East.
I don't think that's going to happen.
We'll have to just wait and see.
I think the Orioles, this is their time. I think this weekend they will have overtaken. They will overtake / have overtaken already the Rays, and I think that they will start to run away with it.
Yeah,
and I think this might be the Orioles' division to lose once they take the lead.
Count me in for that. It'll be a lot of fun.
I'm ready for it, and I think that's the direction that it's heading right now. I'm all for it.
Do we see a tight-knit race after that, or do you think Baltimore is really going to run away with it?
I think they'll run away with it.
4 or 5 game lead.
I think they'll run away with it.
All right. Count me in for it. Some first-place Orioles.
Yeah, I don't know.
If anyone deserves it, it's Orioles fans.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Like I said, the Orioles do have to play the Dodgers this week, and the Dodgers have been hot, to say the very least.
Yeah.
The Dodgers are now back in first place in the NL West. They're a game and a half up on the Giants. The Diamondbacks have fallen a little bit. They're 2 games back. Diamondbacks are 2-8 in their last 10, not to mention as well. Mm-hmm. So Diamondbacks are not really having a great time, but the Dodgers just took 2 out of 3 from the Mets. They lost the 3rd game. So not the biggest deal. They did still take 2 out of 3. They're 53-39, and they've been playing really well recently.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mookie Betts is on another planet.
Per usual.
Well, yeah, per usual, kinda, but not in the last couple seasons. We haven't seen him make any of these types of runs, and it's amazing to see him start to do this again, because this is very MVP 2018-esque Mookie Betts right now.
Almost.
He's at 27 homers. He's batting .286. The OPS is I want to say almost at 1,000 if I'm doing my math right.
979.
It's just everything is going Mookie Betts' way, and I think that's really helping the Dodgers do what they are doing right now. Mookie. Not to mention, I also love Mookie Betts.
Yeah, hard not to love Mookie Betts. I mean, the Dodgers, although I feel like we went into this season saying, yes, they're going to win the NL West division, we did not think it would be anything too impressive like previous Dodger years, because they did show us early in the offseason that they were going to go a little bit cheaper with guys like not signing any big name free agents for the most part, kind of just keeping around the same guys, bringing in guys like a guy like JD Martinez was like their big get.
Which JD has been very good.
Yeah,
so it turned out really well.
Yeah, an amazing move, you have to admit. But I think I'm worried for the rest of the National League, because if the Dodgers are now going to catch this hot streak and really ride it and try to get a lead on the NL West, I think the big bad Dodgers could honestly make another run in the second half, where we're talking about them being World Series contenders and not playoff contenders as we talked about them in the offseason.
I think in the offseason we talk about this team as still World Series contenders. You can't never rule out the Dodgers.
Yeah, that's true.
They're one of the powerhouse teams.
Yeah.
They just kind of always find a way to get it done and have these players that come out of nowhere. I'm so happy for David Peralta. He kind of turned his season around. He's having a really good year now.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jason Hayward came out of nowhere.
And has been, like, one of the best hitters in baseball off the bench. It's bizarre.
Oh, yeah. Max Muncy got that low batting average, but he still hits homers a lot.
Yeah. He just needs to play the Giants more often. Will Smith, one of the best catchers in baseball now, and then Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, the usual guys who are going to be there. Not to mention their pitching's also been really good. Freddie Freeman with a 150 OPS plus. I mean, it's so far this has been a very, very good season when you look at the individual numbers for a lot of these players on the Dodgers. And the fact that they're all on the same team shows how good the success is of the team of the Los Angeles Dodgers. How impressive the success is. Because they're doing it while all their guys are being productive. There's no one besides, honestly, like Max Muncy, who you kind of expect at this point to not be...
Wouldn't that make sense?
...doing the best, having the best numbers. No, I'm saying it does make sense. I'm saying if you look at it individually, if you look at all of the players individually without knowing who they are, and then you tell someone they're all on the same team, you would expect a lot of success, and that's exactly what the Dodgers are doing, and it's impressive.
Fair enough. I think it's impressive for a different reason. I think it's impressive because of just how many injuries they have right now.
Yeah. That's all.
Obviously Gavin Luck's out for the season, Trace Thompson, but they're on the pitching side of things. Walker Buehler got Tommy John last season. Clayton Kershaw's been out since June 30th. Dustin May out for the season, I think.
Yeah, probably.
But really, Buehler and Kershaw being out, not to mention the amount of bullpen arms that they have out right now. Fire Eisen, Daniel Hudson, Shelby Miller, Jimmy Nelson, Alex Reyes, Blake Trinan. It's really impressive, to be quite honest, that they're doing all this with that many players injured.
Yeah,
and the guys they have up right now are all like getting it done, like without kind of stress. So I don't know. Good for the Dodgers. Bad for the Diamondbacks, because Diamondbacks, what is going on? The Diamondbacks have now lost after they got swept by the Blue Jays coming out of the All-Star break, and they are 11-17 in their last 28 games. So they went from one of the hottest teams in the world, one of the best teams in baseball, to being 6 games under 500 in their last month.
Yeah.
Which is not what you want.
Does not feel real based on the first half that the Diamondbacks had. Hopefully, it's not something that is around for long. I would love to see change in pace. Love to see the first place Diamondbacks get back to where we saw them in the first half.
Wouldn't everyone?
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of an obvious assessment there. It's more of just like, what is going on? Obviously, I think it's got something to do with the pitching. Mm-hmm. Pitching has not been great. The lineup has been good, but again, if your pitching's not good, what's like the point of having good rotation? I mean, a good lineup that can score runs. Again, hoping it gets better for the Diamondbacks, because they definitely deserve it. And they were one of the most fun teams when we were watching them.
Yeah.
So we'll see. In terms of around the league a little bit more, just kind of since, first episode since the All-Star break, just kind of a refresher going around the divisions. Obviously, we'll get into trade talks at some point, not today, but just going around kind of updating the teams, what's going on. The Twins are finally above 500. Going into the All-Star break, they were not above 500, but they were still in first place somehow. They swept their first series against the A's coming out of the break.
Good.
Cleveland got swept. The Guardians, who were second place team, got swept coming out of the break. So that's, Twins gained some ground there. As far as the AL West goes, I think the AL West is very interesting now. It's a weird division now, in my opinion, because the Rangers are 55-39. They have certainly cooled down to their really, really extremely hot start of the season.
Yeah.
And the Astros have started to heat up.
Yeah, a little bit, which is
they're only 3 games back.
Yeah.
They're only
if you're
3
a fan of any team in the American League, you got to be worried about Houston.
It's impossible to not be worried about the Astros.
Mm-hmm.
What I wanted to say was, what I want to highlight rather, is the Angels and the Mariners. The Angels are now 9 games back. Have lost 2. They've lost 8 out of their last 10 games. They're 6 games back to the wild card. Not looking good at all. The Mariners are currently at 500 and 8 games back. I think the Mariners certainly have a better chance to turn their season around than the Angels do.
Yes.
And Shohei Ohtani still is on the Angels. So we will obviously talk more about that another day, but just remember that Shohei Ohtani is on the Angels, and the Angels have continued to be worse and worse recently. So we'll see.
Talk.
But they do go to play the Yankees this week, and the Yankees have been absolutely horrible recently.
Yeah,
they just lost. They lost 2 of 3 to the Colorado Rockies. One of the worst teams in baseball. And they sit in last place right now. So the Yankees are in last. The Angels are about to play them. The Angels have been bad. The Yankees have been bad. We'll see what happens there.
We'll see.
That's going to be an interesting series. Could be a very bad series. The Red Sox have been really hot. Red Sox have been really good. They went into the break hot, on fire. They came out of the break 2 out of 3, I believe it was. And
Devers has been absolutely raking, along with
Yoshida.
who people were saying did not deserve the contract that the Red Sox gave him, Masataka Yoshida. And I think it's fair to say that he has more than earned that amazing contract that he got. I mean, we are talking about a guy who in 81 games so far this season is batting .317. He's already had his first 2 career Grand Slams. And it feels like he plays baseball, I don't want to say the right way, but the way that the Red Sox need him to play baseball. You know, there are times when he just needs to get a single, move the runner over, play baseball in a more low-light fashion. But as soon as that spotlight's on him, Masataka Yoshida has figured out a way to become an amazing hitter in the MLB, and it's really, really interesting to watch and see it. Because over the course of, so far this entire season, we have seen him go from, oh, maybe he's not worth all the money that the Red Sox gave him, Hein Bloom, what are you doing? Now all of a sudden, he's one of the best hitters in the AL East, in my opinion, and I don't think it's that close between him and some other guys in the rest of their division.
That's fair. I certainly think that he might be the best rookie in the American League right now.
Yeah.
He is the best hitter in baseball off fastballs as well. I believe he has like a .380 batting average against fastballs. So that's like very impressive. You could tell he definitely knows what he's doing every time he gets to the plate. Very tough guy to beat. And yeah, I like Masataka Yoshida.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else, Lewis?
I believe it's just the homer draft left.
Yeah, we just have to do the homer draft. I know you're excited about that. I am not. But yeah, this week we got some fun series coming up. We'll be here all week. And yeah, let's get into the homer draft.
Let's do it.
So, the homer draft, which the weekly ding-dongs is what we like to call it. It's definitely not weekly at this point. But we will still be calling it the weekly ding-dongs.
We'll get back on track.
Lewis, let us know who your picks were last week and what's going on.
Ladies and gentlemen, last time we did this, I should say.
Yeah, not last week, rather.
Yeah. I had Corey Seager of the Texas Rangers and Mookie Betts of the Dodgers. Corey Seager put up a whopping 2 home runs in back-to-back days for me on the 4th and the 5th of July. Mookie Betts hit 8 home runs in the time span
Crazy.
that I had him drafted. So that gives me a total of 10 home runs for this last period, which puts me now at 31.
Yeah, so I had Mike Trout, who got injured, like about 3 days after I picked him. And of course, this weekly ding-dongs went for a month rather than a week.
Yeah.
So I've had no production from my AL pick for basically the entire time. But he did wind up getting 1 home run. And then Corbin Carroll was also injured for a little bit, but he wound up having 2. So I am currently at 26. So you take the lead on a questionable week, but...
Questionable time span. I think
questionable
that's the more fair thing to say.
But we're ready for our picks again.
Yes, we are.
You took the lead. You can go first.
All right.
I don't want to go first.
I'm going to head over to the National League. I'm going to take Trey Turner of the Philadelphia Phillies. Count me in for some Trey Turner bombs. Might need to go to even attend a game. Just because Trey Turner is not homered. Has homered in every game that we've been at.
True.
But we'll have to just wait and see. I do think Trey Turner might catch a little burner this time around.
Trey Turner might catch a burner.
Yeah.
All right. I'm
going
to go to my NL pick as well because I'll snake around. I'm going to go with Christian Yelich.
Okay. I like that.
Christian Yelich has been good recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I just picked him up on my fantasy team. So I would like him to hit some home runs. He also had home runs in back-to-back days. The last 2 days. So, I don't know. Feeling good about Christian Yelich. And for my AL pick, I'm going to go...
Ooh, who's he going to go with?
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll go with Adolis Garcia.
Oh.
Home run derby participant. And I don't know, I'm just feeling good about the home run derby participants. And I didn't want to pick Vlad because that's too obvious and boring. So I'm going with Adolis.
All right. I, for my AL pick, actually went to the same region. Same place, actually. Went down to Texas. Went down to the Rangers. And I picked another one of their All-Stars, Josh Jung. I'm going to take him in my American League. So for me, my American League pick is Josh Jung of the Texas Rangers, and National League is Trey Turner. Alex, who did you go with again?
I went with Adolis Garcia and Christian Yelich. Yeah, I'm liking it. So I think that's all we got for you guys today.
I believe so.
We thank you guys for watching, listening, viewing. If you liked, make sure to subscribe, comment, and share. And we will see you guys in the next one tomorrow. A peace.